Hey, everybody. I am the Admiral, Tommy Scoville, and I got my boy with me.
Let's get a 5x5. I'm Spanx Calhoun.
Let's see. Already hit the like, do it right away, says LeBone's Creations, and I think that's a really good idea. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. YouTube has a nasty habit of bumping people off of subscriptions. Lunch is in my belly. I'm all yours. Good morning, everybody.
Thank you, Jason.
Scooby, good to hear you. Nice.
Let's try this again, shall we?
Nice.
Scooby Lee, V. McWilliams, Kathy Yan, I Live for Now, Nicola E., Layla Bradley. I'm glad you guys made it.
Layla. We did a hell of a roll call. You just missed it.
Yeah.
Jane Aldrich, good to see you. Dirty Mouse, what's happening? Kristen Melinda, singing the praises of McDonald's coffee or questioning McDonald's coffee. Millie, I love Millie the dandelion. I really do.
Tony Suter.
Charlie
Mullins. That's the first subscriber, people.
That is the absolute first subscriber. You said that a moment ago. Analytical Blarney, thank you for all you do. Thank you. That means the world to us. Seriously, the support really helps. Before we get rolling today, I'm going to do a disclaimer that we're probably going to do a couple of more times because the next couple of days are probably going to get weird. But everybody has for sure heard the news since last night that there was an attempted... there was a shooting at the former president of the United States.
In Pennsylvania.
We are a disgustingly divided country on this issue, so we're just not going to talk about it here. And if people say anything, somebody left a comment that I commented back on. Had nothing to do with this subject, by the way. But they were lamenting the fact that my son had blocked them for talking about politics. Said he had a lot of growing up to do, and I lost my feces. Really nicely. It was a hell of a comeback. You can go read it.
Hell of a speech.
It really was. But I laid these laws down long before Spanx Calhoun was anywhere near this place, and we're never going to change them. I pulled the plug first. This is never going to be a political show. And you know what? Do you have any idea how much I want to talk about politics? I'd rather talk about politics than sobriety. I promise you I've studied it more, but I'm never going to do it. It's just a really bad idea. What we're doing here is trying to bring people together. And anytime you pick a subject that involves debate, even if you're good at it, and even if you're kind about it, you're going to separate people. And that's not what we're going to do here. So let's just avoid that one. And we can talk about all kinds of other fun stuff. For instance,
you know what I'm really excited about?
Shoot.
My dad brought another monitor over so I can switch this setup up. We kind of threw this together, but
because Dad got here late.
I can see it now. I can see it working perfectly.
We also had a second mic setup. We really want the sound quality and the picture quality to be really good while we're here because I'm going to be here for a minute.
I need more than 15 minutes to make that happen, apparently. So that's all right.
Yes, but all the equipment is here now, which is cool. And the good news is, and when I say I'm going to be here for a while, I'm going to be going back and forth a lot. And thank you. I Live for Now. I love it. Right. Here's the deal, people. The politics of sobriety occasionally has to be discussed. Right. And I've said that from literally the first day that we started this channel. When politics and drugs, politics and sobriety, politics and mental health, when those things collide, sometimes we have to talk about it. And when we do, another great example is legalization or not legalization of drugs. It's a subject that we talk about on here, and it is contentious as hell for lots of good reasons. But you know what? I think if you're an analytical thinker, you hold open the idea that maybe my thought process is wrong. And if you think that that's not something that you can wrap your brain around, I did it. Right. And I did it with everybody watching. Tommy Stig Social Club. It's an honor, Tommy. Always great to have you in the house. And mods, throw up a link to him. If you like the kind of stuff we do where we just hang out and talk and chill, I think you'll dig Tommy Stig Social Club. And it reminds me a lot of all of the people that I grew up with. So I think you'll groove to it. But the goal is to bring people together. Right. And we will be forced occasionally to talk about things like legalization, where people come down so hard on both sides. But in the beginning of this show, I came out and said I would rather jump in front of a bus than see drugs legalized. Or something close to that. I don't remember exactly how I worded it, but if that's not it, you get the tenor, right? It's that general idea. Kathy, good to see you. But I would say this, as much as I think that it sucks to tap out, I am of the firm belief that the war on drugs currently isn't winnable. And when the supply chain of drugs is killing more people than it's just keeping high, then there's really a problem. And that's where we're at now. And it's frightening, but these are subjects that sometimes we got to bring up, and they do divide people. Can I get a little love from the boat? I'm playing a concert series, and I finally spoke up about abuse by the principal guy. I reported multiple times now. I'm distraught because I go in again today. Oh my goodness. Kathy, first of all,
let's get some ones up for Kathy.
Yeah, please. Thoughts and prayers. If you're new to the boat, ones can mean whatever it means to you, but it's supporting the people on the boat. It's a virtual hug. It's whatever you want it to be. I've even heard it described as the stuff shooting off a Care Bear's stomach.
Rainbows?
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Say, well, some shoot rainbows and some shoot other things. Like Care Bears have got a very distinctive batch of tummies.
I guess I'm not up on my Care Bears.
Do you know why? Because you came along a little later and you had gargoyles. But when we were kids, Care Bears were a thing. Kathy, first of all, God bless you for standing up. For real. This is it's a very difficult thing to do. And it's a very difficult thing to do regardless of your gender. Keep it real. To talk about abuse in any way sucks. But you know what? Sometimes it's a much more difficult thing to do when it's a woman and a man. And that's just real. The world had put up with that for so long that there's still a hangover from the fact that we used to put up with that crap. But I'm proud of you, Kathy. And you know what? You're stronger than you know. I think you're going to do well in there.
I'm going to have to do this. It's killing me, dude. I have to be able to see the TV.
All right.
Or I'm going to freak out.
All right.
We're going to do that.
Hopefully we're still 5 by 5 in it.
We are. It's fine. And that's how you know.
Okay, cool.
They can hear me touching it, though.
The the good news.
The resident mic toucher. That's Calhoun.
Well, that actually works. I could live with that.
It's a lot better, right?
Yeah. Why didn't we do that the first time?
It was bad idea.
I blame the king.
Okay.
Because it certainly couldn't be the admiral or the captain.
That's
So
right.
it had to have been the king. King Lewis. I'm listening, but the waves are too loud to hear over. Oh, wow. Wow. If you're near the beach, you just rub that in.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty
Good
jealous.
for you. Tommy Stiggs, I love you, man. I'm glad you're here. I really am. Whine a little bit more. What's happening? Flick, Fox. Good to see you.
Gypsy Soul.
You know what? There's a lot of names here I haven't seen in a long time.
A lot of new people.
Sandy Wendy, good to see you.
Well, let's hit one of our points. One of our main talking points here.
Well, good. You know what I did want to hit for real? So yesterday, Quibs did a pretty raucous video, and I'm proud as hell of her. And I'm proud as hell of her as a YouTuber. Just straight out, forget everything else if you don't care about the story. But she had 2,000 people in the live.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I saw that.
Yeah, I think I might have even hit 2,100, and that's just unless there's something ridiculous going on. I mean, that's a really, and what I mean by that is if you go live right after what happened last night to the president, yeah, you might get, or when Danny Masterson got sentenced, when Alan Ballantyne and I were in LA.
Yeah.
I think the largest we had ever had in a chat was like 75 people. And we came out to say what the sentence was, and there were 3,900 people in the chat in like 4 seconds. And we're looking at names like, I don't know anybody in here, nobody. And you know what? A lot of you are still here, which is cool. They've stuck around. The video was powerful, was it not? She did it really well. The video was her. She was recounting an interview with a woman who was a call girl for the Jesters, basically her entire life, and it is a generational thing.
Interesting.
Like 3 generations of prostitutes, all servicing this same organization.
Interesting. Wow.
You know, if you're the granddaughter, if you're the third in a row, I don't know that you choose that life. I think at that point it's just like being born into Scientology.
I was about to say the term "born and bred" takes on a different meaning.
Well, I mean,
context.
Yeah, right. We look at like Quibble and people who were born into Scientology. We call them second gens because you didn't have a shot to choose Scientology, right? This crap got foisted upon you, and you're 3 years old and you're holding cans, and it's the only thing you know in the world. If you're born into a third generation, and I say third gen, second gen had to be bad, But by third generation, grandma's joking about it, mom's talking about it.
Yeah.
By the time you're coming up to 13, 14,
It's
I think
business.
It's a family business. Piano mom, good to see you. Still in my thoughts and prayers every day. You and your family. Analytical Blarney says, so proud of Reese. She is one of the strongest women and an amazing example for so many. You know what? It's here's one of the things about Quibs, and I find it fascinating. I really do. You'll see in second gens, people split in one of two directions. And I have met some who, well, let's talk about Quibs. She doesn't think she's brave. She doesn't think she's anything. And I think it has a lot more to do with her dad breaking her down, right, for her entire youth than it does Scientology. And the reason I'm bringing this up is somebody sent me an email, and there was a comment about this as well, how second gens very often are like this. I have found that not to be the case. I have found very often that second gens have a almost, especially from what they've been through, there's almost a supernatural kind of belief in their own ability, and they've had to have that in order to survive. Reese pulled that off and did it without self-esteem, and I think that that's a really, really bizarre. It's just I've never seen anything like it, and the more I'm around her and watching her change that, because self-esteem is starting to work its way into this girl's life.
That's not going to be
no.
something she lacks forever.
No.
Hanging out with you long enough.
No, she's well, and a great group of people. The audience, you people, you people. Usually, when you say that, you're in trouble. Usually, if you utter the phrase "you people," you have to do an apology tour.
No, but we love you people.
But we do. You people. You people.
It's a little different.
Honestly, have been the greatest therapy for her in the world. There's a reason that she knows the name of everybody there. And it's because of the interaction between the crowd. It's the same principle that we do here on the Lifeboat. It really is. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is it spawned a lot of conversation about the differences between control groups and cults and things like that. And I talked about that on last night's show. The number of you who have reached out to me to talk to me about different groups of people. I got Canadians that have reached out to me, and apparently there's some pretty rowdy groups in Canada doing very similar kind of things. I intend to chase down all these. I really do. I find this to be a fascinating subject. There are 15,000 Scientologists in the world, and that's too much because they can have kids, right? They can create second and third gens, and this is really an awful thing. But there are 150,000 just of the jesters in the U.S., and that's one of so many of these appendage groups of the Masonry whole whatever that is. But it just, you start to get to a point. Rumor has it the Mets are going to change their uniforms to cotton. You know what? This is a great uniform. Sorry, I'm a Mets fan.
Is this cotton?
That's, you know who that was?
Yeah,
Shelton.
No, that's
I know, but Jeremy Shelton never fails, man. Yes, I felt Jeremy Shelton is his taste in television shows absolutely remarkable. His taste in music, not so good.
Much,
not so good.
Although I don't know what you guys see. What's that guy's name? The comeback kid? Yeah, he kind of sucks. I don't know why you guys like him so much.
Well, first of all, you had to grow up with him to understand the fact that he is now the comeback king. Because when we were young, this dude did every movie that came out for about 5 years. He was the really kind of like the pinnacle of.
I went and saw the Goonies finally.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
it was probably would have been a lot better.
His peak.
Well, no, you know what? I think Stand By Me would probably be his peak.
Stand by me.
You know something? And if we go down we are trotting on thin ice, because if we start going down this rabbit hole, there's a lot of people here who dig Corey Feldman. But Corey Feldman was so cool that since then, hello, Robin Miners. Since then, we have allowed Corey Feldman to pretend that he's a rock star.
For his entire life.
Yeah, for the last 2 or 3 decades. Goonies Never Say Die. It's a solid film, a very solid film.
I mean, that
highlight Jeremy Shelton.
This seems to be his motto, his mantra for life. Goonies Never Say Die. Like he's literally still
he's living it.
Yeah, he's still living it.
If you're new to this and you have no idea what we're talking about,
which is funny.
Corey Feldman has a rock band, right? Lost Boys was great.
I can put
Lost Boys was great. No, that's
Lost
the
Boys
best.
is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Well, here's the thing, though. If we put this on, are they going to demonetize us? Because we seem to every time I pick on Feldman, we get demonetized.
Yeah, we should.
So, but he's on stage.
Like yesterday morning.
That doesn't surprise me. I talk about all of the extracurricular activities. They got over it, right? And then I went away, and now they're just gonna screw me for another year.
When I say it, they don't like it either.
Well, no, we're not getting. This is just a little inside baseball, and then I'll get back to Corey Feldman.
Sorry about that.
No, and then we'll get back to Corey Feldman. But it's kind of fascinating. When I first started the Lifeboat, I talk about drugs, and I talk about them by name. Everybody else has code words and all that. Well, if you just got here, you don't know what the hell shabibble is, right? Or whatever we're using for code words. So I talk about cocaine and I talk about heroin, and that probably just demonetized this. Over time, the algorithm will eventually realize that we're not promoting this stuff, but it took like 2 years for that to work. And then we got monetized on everything. It was no problem. And when I left, it's like the algorithm decided, oh, he's gone. Let's just start demonetizing everything that the new guy says. And now I'm back and they're still doing it. So it is what it is. So back to Corey Feldman. He's got this band and he goes to festivals and now he's touring with some actual legit rock band, and someone will put it up there. Probably there's a good chance that Jeremy Shelton will put it up because he's a pretty big fan. I know he's going to be touring with Feldman for at least half of this year's tour.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to be.
My.
And look, we don't judge people.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, we're not. We don't judge people because there was a rumor he was going to be selling nitrous oxide on the Feldman tour to support himself. Truth be told, it's going to be vegetarian burritos, and I think we can all get behind that.
I like a good vegetarian burrito now and again.
So he goes up on stage and he does this Michael Jackson kind of dance. If you know Feldman, he lived with Michael Jackson for a while. They were very close friends. And by all accounts, that's all they were. That's what he says, or I think that's still what he says. He changes up every once in a while when he wants to change a book. Sell a book, but he goes on stage and he realizes he threw the wrong hand up right for the start of the show. So he throws the other one up. It's just the most embarrassing 2 minutes of film you've ever seen. If you can get through it, you're a hero. You really are. It's so hard to watch. And the fans start this chant for the comeback king, but there's only like 9 people that start to chant. And the bassist and not the bassist, the guitarist, the lead guitarist has to come out and start this chant. And if you look at this guy, there's this split second where you realize that he's a really good musician. Yeah. Like this guy's played on stage with some unbelievable rock bands. He's the real deal. And he's got this look on his face like, good God, I'm starting the comeback king chant for Corey Feldman. What the hell has happened to my career? It's really sad. Patty, you're welcome. I love you, Patty Collins. I really do. And I know that you're going through it. Right. And this is a great example of, I won't put you on blast, but there are so many things that she is going through in her life that have nothing to do with drugs, have nothing to do with alcohol, have nothing to do with relapsing. It's none of that. It's just that sometimes life piles on top of you. I was talking about Jack yesterday. My best friend is homeless. And that's killing me.
What's going on with that? Why'd that happen again?
It happened because he lives in a place in California where to rent a 2-bedroom apartment costs like $8,000 a month. So no matter what you got for a nest egg,
he's got to leave California. He knows that, right?
Yeah, he needs to. And the problem is everything in his life is there. His mom is there. His in-laws are there.
He's going to have to accept being homeless. You can't afford to live somewhere like that. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
That's when you make tough decisions, in my opinion.
You know what, Brazy? You know exactly. Brazy girl, you know exactly who Corey Feldman is. I promise you do. You just don't know. Your city is built in a crater. No, you know exactly who Corey Feldman is. You just don't realize you know who Corey Feldman is, right? This is Corey Feldman. There you go. That's probably most how you would remember Corey Feldman. Is like this. Right? Wow. Calhoun can do things that I can't even dream of. But that right there would be Corey Feldman. Right? That's Corey Feldman a la, say, 1993 or 94. Maybe even 95 or 6. There's been a little plastic surgery, I think, that they started at that point. Because when he was really young, like when he did Stand By Me or he did The Goonies, he was great in The Goonies. He was great in all of them. But he's gotten He's gotten a little strange. He spent a lot of time living right next to Hugh Hefner's Playboy mansion, and he would go there like on a nightly basis. Apparently,
This guy.
for all intents and purposes, he was living at the Playboy mansion, and I don't know that.
I bet you they love him over there.
well, they did. They did. That's
Here, you do that. I have to.
You know what, Kristen Melinda? That's not such a look. Kristen Melinda's a genius. You know something? Did I see Bacon Bits Ben Turner here? I don't know if
I've done something and I hate it.
What have you done?
Nothing.
I'm confused.
Ben Bacon Bits is not in here this morning.
Okay. Good.
Or he hasn't spoken up at least.
All right.
I haven't seen the name, but shout out to Mr. Ben. He's the man.
Scroll down for a second.
This is all the way.
No, I mean, I want to see. I missed something.
Morning.
Gamer. It's also criminal for regular people to be expected to pay that kind of rent. I agree with you 100%. And here's the thing. This is a guy he crashed his truck. I've shown pictures of it. I did a show on it. If you see this truck, you would think this dude died. There's no way you look at it and you go, there's no way he got out of this. And it was horrific. And it probably saved his life because he was really out there in the weeds doing all kinds of dope. And put him in the hospital. When he got out, he never did dope again. And that's pretty remarkable. But he lost everything in it. I mean, that accident, literally, he lost everything. Patty Collins, I'm telling you, I appreciate what you're saying. The Dollar General you're going to, though, is not the Bug Tussle Dollar General. The Bug Tussle Dollar General is, I mean, it's Walmart in a building the size of a Dollar General.
Happy birthday to Izzy E, by the way.
No way.
Enjoy yourself out there. Be safe.
Izzy E.
Yeah.
Hey, Lori Abs is here. Good to see you, Lori. Izzy E, have a great birthday. I love Izzy.
Out at the powwow. Hope you're with
there was a good there, Kathy. Playboy is a bona fide cult. Yeah, you know something?
That I followed for years.
Yep, the documentaries.
Are every bit a good job. As horrifying as the aftermath. Shocking. Interesting. I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out.
Oh, no, she's absolutely right. Going back to, you know what? I'm glad you studied this. What was the name of the actress that he almost married? She was a brunette. Her name started with a B. Absolutely lovely girl, especially considering not blonde. I have a thing for blondes. Surprised you didn't know that.
I knew that.
I have a thing for all women, but I really have a thing for blondes.
I can't remember you dating a not blonde, to be honest. Name one.
I assume that's already gone.
It is now.
Thank you. Did anyone say her name? Barbie Benton. See that? And I didn't even need to see it. Two names, Barbie Benton. In the 70s, it looked like Hefner might get normal, or at least try to get normal. And I think that the cult of Playboy, which is really what it is, went off of the rails after that. After he left Barbie Benton, it got really, really weird. And there were deaths and murders. And there was a lot of really horrific things that...
We're good.
Okay. There's a lot of really horrific things that went down. Yes, Barbie Benton. There you go. Barbie B. Arthur. Jeremy Shelton, it really ain't a boat without you around. I'm telling you what. No, you know what? We trust the wrenches. They got it going on. The docu-series, The Secrets of Playboy, is worth watching. You know what? I may check it out. I hope it's, I'm going to have to see how it's edited. Sadly, usually if they're talking about Hef, you know, there tends to be very high production value. And the higher the production value, the less chance I have of being able to watch it.
Robin Weiner says, we own in LA and our mortgage is 1/3 of the current rent around here. That's wild. I can't imagine that.
You know what?
If you're doing a mortgage, you're kind of got some roots growing. But I am, for one, I'm very grateful that I'm not in a place that costs that much.
It is absolutely ridiculous. It really is. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I know this is off in the weeds too, but you know what? There have been times where things like this do actually work in small little communities. sprout up around places like that where the rents are different, and then the people can go in and get paid ridiculous money, because you have to pay people a lot more money to even work in places like that. But usually it doesn't work, and the experiment in California has gotten so out of control that it is horrifying.
Who's
the
Jeff?
Rents. I'm sorry.
Who's Jeff? Bill Cosby was Jeff's best friend.
What
Jeff are we talking about here?
That would probably be the cellist. That is Quibb's ex.
Oh,
yes. Not sure if you've seen him. Oh,
is that how old he is? Good Lord.
No, it's more that Bill Cosby was a pretty disturbing person with his proclivities towards things done to women. And I think it was a dig at the cellist for also being a weirdo. Jen Marie, good to see you. I would like to suggest to my fellow crew a docuseries on Max
called Teen Torture.
Teen Torture Inc.
I can't watch stuff like that.
It's about the troubled teen industry rather. Jen Marie,
that stuff tears me up.
Yeah, it is a hard thing to watch, hard thing to get through.
It's like watching Scarred or what's that other one? Intervention.
Yep.
There's a couple of those that are just so bad.
Yep.
So it's so hard to watch.
Well, and you bring up
close to the chest.
You bring up a really, really excellent point. Right? True story.
I guess they call that triggering, right?
Yeah.
I just don't like that word.
Well, you know what? You don't have to use the word.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Truthfully and honestly, there are things that when we begin to watch, sometimes they cause us, right? Emotionally, they trigger us emotionally. Sometimes it is a very different thing. I've said this many times on the Lifeboat. If I take the album Appetite for Destruction and I put it on and I crank it up as loud as it can go, by the time I'm at the 5th song, I'm in full-blown relapse. I'm shaking. I'm serious.
You've told me
I can hear a song on the radio
Same
today.
With Bradley.
Yeah, exactly. I can hear a song on the radio today, no big deal. Same with Sublime. I can hear a song on the radio, no big deal. There was a time I couldn't. There was a time when the song would come on and I would just go, oh, not going to do it, because it instantly starts to cause things to happen inside me. If anything does that to you, you need to walk away from it. However, there are things that I will read, right? Like, for instance, if there's something that's really awesome, but it is like this, and they've got it edited to the point where it's gonna cause me to have a migraine, I will go and we live in the beautiful age of technology. Jeremy Fowler, good to see you. We live in an age of technology today where I can go and just hit transcript and I can read every single thing that was said, and that never hurts my brain, right? That never hurts my brain. Hate to say this, but I'm glad we found out about Bill Cosby before he died, and now we know the truth. You know what, Jeremy Fowler? I agree with you. I agree with you, and I'll tell you why. We have a lot of friends from overseas, right? We got a lot of friends on the Lifeboat who are from the other side of the pond, and some of the stuff that happened with, what was the guy's name? Jimmy Savile, I think was one of them. Gary Glitter, a lot of guys over there that did some horrific things and seemed to be able to get away with it. I think they got Gary Glitter, but Jimmy Savile, I think, was already gone, right? Like, all of the horrific things that this guy did for his entire freaking life, they didn't find out about until after the fact. And I think you know what, Lisa, I'm going to reach out to you because I would like to hear more about that than you could put up just there. And Lisa's one of my 5.
Patty Collins is going back to school. Good for you.
Get
Good for you.
out of here.
Yeah. There's a trophy by your leg if you want to.
Yeah, you know what?
Throw that thing around.
There's no way. Look at this. It is the official participation trophy of the Lifeboat. I would like to have $1 for every time I have picked this thing up. Patty Collins, good for you. Had a coworker in New York City who was retiring. Oh, I'm sorry. Who was renting in a windowless basement. Go ahead.
Who was renting in a windowless basement in NoHo, a slot with a narrow, less than twin size cot bed, no leg room, $400 a month, which you could rent a studio on South Beach for at the time. Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, there's levels to this stuff for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you something. A windowless basement in NoHo, I would have thought, this is going to sound horrible, but spent a lot of time in New York City. I would have thought when I got down to 400, I was actually surprised at how low that is. I didn't think there was anything at this point in New York you could get for under 4 digits.
Can't think of a better name. What's going on? Welcome in.
I lived in Leeds. Yeah, Millie. I love Millie.
When Seville died, I never liked him. The turnout for his funeral parade was astonishing, given there's been rumors for years.
Yeah, I remember seeing there was a documentary, a really good documentary on him. No, you see, Millie says I did not attend, and that's shocking because if you see it looks like everybody attended.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like anybody missed it. It's just so foul. But since then, his reputation has been decimated. His name's been pulled off of everything because the truth has come out, and he is really just awful. Back to school, you have to perform the triple Lindy. That is a fact. If you go back to school, and only one man ever did, right? The triple Lindy, such a great reference. I'm listening, but I got to jump in the shower. Yes, and you know what? Thoughts and prayers going back out with you again, Kathy. You're going to get through this.
We're glad you feel welcome, Kelly.
Kelly, I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah, that's good. That means we're doing it right.
Yeah, right. That's what's supposed to happen. I really hope that you feel welcome. Welcome to the boat.
The media is bought and paid for, Susie Q.
Yeah. Here's the problem with you're right. The media is absolutely complicit in keeping people's secrets.
Which is one of the reasons we do this show. We get to tell our truth.
Right.
And we're not bought and paid for.
Not yet, but if you've got a lot of money,
hit us up. We are accepting sponsorships from the likes of Harvoni.
Harvoni would be a good one.
Yeah.
I would be willing to talk to a large chain of rehabilitation centers if I could go and check them out. Right.
Yeah.
See what they're. I am really disturbed by a lot of things that happen in rehabilitation. For instance, if you go into rehab, they're going to do everything they can to blame everything wrong in your life on your parents. Now,
it's quite a profitable industry.
This is one of those rare occurrences where they're probably right, but they're not right in every occurrence. You know what I mean? Like you had parents that were not hitting it out of the ballpark, but there are people who do have parents who hit it out of the ballpark. And when you walk in, they're still going to go right to your parents screwed you up, because the business model has always been, if we can blame this on someone else, if we can create a straw man, well, then that prick, it's their fault. You don't have to feel guilty, and guilt's bad because it makes you relapse. It's that person's fault. Well, that's dangerous.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's not effective.
It isn't effective. It's 20% effective right now. And the sad thing is, inevitably, someone will get 7 years out, 9 years out. I'm working with people like this every day. And the realization sinks in that, you know what? I don't think this was dad's fault. I don't think this was mom's fault or my aunt's fault. I think this was decisions that I made and I continued to make. And that's a tough thing for a lot of people. Even if, look, I have some rank crap happen to me as a kid, but I still made every decision I ever made. I did. I made the decisions that put me in the places that I've been in.
On this channel, we definitely preach taking responsibility for what's going on. That's how we process through. That's how we get to living a better life. That's how we peel the onion. That's how we apply these spiritual tools, this toolkit, all these different concepts that we beat like a dead horse over and over and over. The reason we do so is because that's how we get to where we're going. And pushing the blame onto someone else is a surefire way to go backwards in your journey.
I agree with you. But Kristen Melinda, as always, Kristen Melinda freaks me out sometimes.
She's pretty on it.
She's never not on it. There's a balance there. I like to explore where and how a pattern started, maybe with parents, but then focus on what they can do to change it, not live there forever. Well, and I think the balance is essential. If you watch the early days of the Lifeboat, you watch like before we went live, right before I had back in the early days, you couldn't go live as soon as you started. That wasn't a possibility. You had to get to a certain level before you could hit go live. And I think it was 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch hours. Basically, you had to be monetized before you could do it. But in the old days, before I would go live, I used to preach nonstop about owning it, right? And even if you had bad stuff that happened in your past, right, you're gonna have to live with that and journal through that and accept that, right? But you really gotta get that. I'm sorry. Lumen says, I'm not a watch person, but damn, Tommy, it's a big one, isn't it?
Lol.
That's a really big watch. I love this thing though.
Somewhere might be just in the other room.
And I'm working it like a madman right now because this watch can do about 600 things. And I sadly had all of them going at the same time. This is that's a 8/100ths of a second. Sorry, people, mini stop. If I hit that button, it leaves 1 second hand behind, keeps the other one going. It's a split second chrono. So this thing is built. This is actually, I'll geek out on this for a second because you might actually laugh.
Instead of saying sorry, we say please hold.
Yes, please hold.
On the morning show.
Okay, there you go. Please hold. I like that better. See that? The kid. So this is for racing yachts, which is really logical because obviously I do a lot of yacht racing.
Yeah, he's a big yacht racer.
No, but I sell watches for a living, and I got a deal on this watch that you wouldn't believe. This watch had never been worn, but it really is absolutely gorgeous. It's made by a company called Corum, and it is it's all of the nautical theme because it's a yacht racing deal. This on the outside is made of titanium, and this stuff in the middle that feels almost like rubber is actually a patented. You can't scratch it, you can't mess it up.
I just tried.
Yeah, and you don't get band stretch like you get with other watches. It's a very well thought out watch, and it is a limited edition, 1 of 1,000. And it comes with a box that's big enough where if by some chance you can't afford the watch, you can live in the box.
Okay.
It's good sized.
Really big box.
It is ridiculous. It doubles as a jewelry box for whatever else you have. It's really over the top. Seville was likely a psychopath. You're absolutely right. He was.
You see that? There's the thing again where I click and it moves.
Yep. I saw that. But that's because our chat rate is getting up there. Kelly Arbitral says, you are so hot. You know, she's talking about you.
Yeah, I saw that.
You got that Axl Rose energy going.
Thank you for saying that.
Yadira. Good to see you, Yadira.
Thank you for saying that, Kelly. I appreciate
Nicola E. I'm glad that you just said this right at the very top. Because I went out of town before I started a process. I don't want to out anybody, but somebody on the lifeboat actually purchased for me the ability to start the process of doing exactly this, going through and exploring family history. And I left town a little short notice. I left town on about 45 minutes notice. It was, but I am going to be exploring this soon, very soon.
Somebody bring that watch back to you from Vietnam after holding on to it for years.
They held this uncomfortable piece of metal.
Hunk of junk.
You know what's really funny? That appears in a book. You can actually read that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But the book that it appears in is just a compilation. The name of the book is Pulp Fiction, and has nothing to do with the movie Pulp Fiction, but it is making reference to all of the old authors and the greatest characters they wrote. And it's where Tarantino gets most of his inspiration. He was super into that. The reason it was called Pulp Fiction, interesting piece of trivia.
I've always wondered this.
The stuff that they printed the books on was so cheap. The paper, it was literally pulp. And none of these books are still in existence. There are so few of them that are still around because even if you saved them and you tried to take care of them, this was pulp. This paper did not hold letters very well, and things tended to run and disintegrate, but you could buy them for a dime. And they were doing a tribute to all of this, and that made it into it. But I'm in prison and I come across this. I'm like, hell yes, I'm keeping this book for the entire sentence.
Casey says babies are born with instincts and no knowledge. All knowledge is learned from someone. All building blocks for knowledge is learned from someone. I have a question for you, Casey. That statement provoked a thought in my head. Have you ever felt like you know something and it's kind of unexplainable where it comes from? You're just like, but I know this. It's a gut feeling maybe, or something of that nature. Have you ever experienced that? And if so, where does that come from?
This is a very interesting concept, Calhoun, and I'm glad the two of you have brought this up. This happens to me all the time. And
I feel like it happens to me a lot as well.
It happens to me all the time. I'll tell you something that was really unique was that the first time I went on stage as a public speaker, I had absolutely no training. I had no help. It was just, here you go. And the very first crowd I ever spoke in front of was massive. In fact, I would
Tell me
probably
this,
go
yeah.
14 or 15 years before I would ever speak professionally. After I turned pro, I would go a good 14 years before ever speaking to a crowd that large. It was a rock star size crowd of people. And I was never uncomfortable. Like they came up and said, hey, you all right? I was young. The other thing was working on watches. There are certain times where like I'll take the back off of a watch and I'll look down at it and it's like I know I've worked on this watch before, but there's no chance that I have. Now they're very similar. Watches all look alike, but I don't know. It's hard to explain. Sometimes I can get the back off of one of those and literally be thinking about people on the lifeboat or thinking about things going on in my life. And I just get into this Zen thing where the next thing I know, it's done.
What's going on with the Wittenauer?
I got the band.
Did you?
I got the band. I got it in Kansas City.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was in a thrift store in Kansas City, and there was a watch, and I don't remember what they wanted for. It was like $35 or something. Nice. And I said to the woman, I go, can I check out that watch? And she goes, this is my case, because it's like a weird thrift store. She goes, this is actually mine. I said, all right. She goes, the watch doesn't work. She said, honestly, it would probably be for parts. I go, that's a lot of money for parts. I said, how about if I just buy the band? She goes, give me $5.
Nice.
Yes, it doesn't have a mark on it. It's
Nice.
The exact same band. There's nothing different.
Wow, good job.
Now I'm going to put it on a leather strap. But I'm going to give it back to you with the strap, and I'll show you how you can do it yourself or whatever. Right. But I think you should try it on a leather because it will look amazing. All right. Now back to our regularly scheduled programs. Did you see what I did there?
I did.
Scheduled.
I like that.
Well, Quibs is, I say schedule, and I've said it my entire life.
Nicola E says, I feel like my personality and morals aren't just a function of my family. I don't believe they lived up to the ethics they preached, but I do what I can to do better every day. I tell you what, and that's what counts right there.
That may be the coolest thing anyone's ever said.
Yeah, if I can be better than I was yesterday, I'm doing a damn good job, in my opinion. And, I don't think that I would agree with you. I feel like I am I don't know. I don't have the words now.
That's all right.
I am the result of my experiences, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the culmination of all of the things that have happened to you in life.
Absolutely. But I definitely have choice. And yeah, there's an element of me. There's an element of Spanx Calhoun.
Is Roberta here?
I have not seen Roberta today at all.
Roberta, if you're catching this on the replay crew, and I love the replay crew.
He's a big fan of your tea.
Good Lord.
He came in stark raving mad about it today.
That stuff. Here's the problem, though.
He was like, who gave me that tea?
I took an inch and a half. I took an inch and a half out of that jar the first time I sat down with it. The problem is it is addicting. I don't know if you guys know what matzahs are, like those big crackers, right?
Kosher bread.
Yeah, thin unleavened bread. And I just was covering it. And I ate half a box of matzahs. And, well, you were there when I bought them. Yeah, I ate half that box.
I remember eating boxes of matzahs covered in butter back when I was a kid. Yeah, that was a staple.
There's Casey. Yes, intuition. Everyone is born with it. There you go.
It happens to me all the time. Knowing and doing, saying something, but not sure why.
Yep. I think that's a really cool phenomenon. It really is. It used to happen to me a lot more when
this
I was
live, Kelly.
Yes, this is live, Kelly. When I was younger, I would get I could go on stage without a script and I would get into an info dump mode where, honest to God, I would leave like I wasn't there. I wasn't paying attention. And it was also, to be, by way of full disclosure, there was probably somewhat drug induced. No, yeah, there you go. Look at that.
I used to do that for
work. Well played. But matzahs, love them. But honestly, it would be like an autopilot, and I would get to the end of it, and you remember my boss, and Rex would come up and be like, well, that was a good one. Or he'd come up and go, yeah, that was, that's the best show you ever did. And I'd go, is it recorded? You know what I mean? Like, could I go back and listen to it?
Because it didn't happen.
Because I don't remember anything I said. There's Leslie girl.
Did he ever record them?
Yeah, there are some of them out there that are recorded. There are definitely some of them out there that are recorded. I have a question. If we took a clip from the 30-minute money system and put it up here, we can't possibly get a strike for it.
So
I wrote it.
The way it works is gray area. There's an automated algorithm. There's a robot, an AI or whatever, basically a program that looks at our our stuff and looks for specific things, specific fields, right? Maybe it's trigger words, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I don't know exactly, but then so that will either flag or not flag, right? And then we can make a human look at it by hitting a button. And 9 times out of 10, that's like there's no difference. Like they're going to look at it so quickly and so casually that so all the videos recently that we've have had reviewed are they were manually reviewed by a human and confirmed to not be suitable or whatever.
Yeah,
so
that's an absolute.
That means some jagoff just looked at it like, yup, whatever.
But
we can't. We're not. I've read the rules.
Yeah. But no jackoff has ever looked at it. You get that email.
There's no justice in it, really. So.
Well, eventually, I talked to somebody last time. It took 2 years. 2 years, and I talked to an actual human being, and I said, "You guys have reviewed every one of these?" And he said, "No." What happens is it goes to a second computer device that listens to the thing.
So do I need to call them? Is that what we need to do then? Or
I'm already sending out I'm doing the same thing already that we did last time.
Because it's friggin' ridiculous.
But I'm telling you, here's the thing. I will with all of this is the largest search engine on planet Earth, right?
Yeah.
So there's probably 40 people running it. There's just no human interaction. Like we had people that were doing things so foul and so disgusting, saying things about us that are so far outside of, forget whether you like me or not, just what community guidelines say you can say. And you'd make complaints and I stopped complaining. I don't care. Whatever anyone says, I don't have time for any of that because no human is going to see it for 2 years. Once a human saw it, the day they saw that dude, his channel was down.
Yep.
Like that. But you can't get a human being to look at something. And people would say, you go over all at once and everybody goes, don't do that. Don't go over and start, doing thumbs down or writing reports because it's not going to benefit anybody. I saw something that said help.
It's this one right here.
Okay, there we go.
Advice.
My brother is an alcoholic with a lot of medical consequences of drinking. Neurologically getting worse, collapsed twice lately while sober, insists on driving a car. Oh, Lord.
Needs to not drive the car.
Yeah, that's huge, right?
Needs to immediately not be driving the car.
But no rational communication is possible, hence why he's still driving a car. I'm fine. You're stupid. Me and my sister worry about his and other people's safety. What would you do? If this was a loved one, if this was somebody that I cared about, I would call authorities.
Yeah.
Because if somebody
get them help.
Yeah. Well,
and they're literally putting themselves and everyone else in danger by driving the car. And I mean, have you conversed with them about? I guess, yeah, I'm fine. You're stupid. They're not fine. You're not stupid, and they need help.
This may be beyond help, and here's what I mean. There is a stage in alcoholism. I'm not going to use the new shit because I can't think of it. Okay. In alcoholism, right? When you drink your entire life, you will get to a point, and they've got a nice new medical term for it, right? But the word has always been wet brain, is what as people have always called it. And basically, it is the development of water on the brain, right? And the water on the brain, is caused by years and years and years and years of drinking. These people also hit around that stage. You start to get reverse tolerance. Your liver can no longer process out 1 ounce of alcohol per hour. Yep. So you drink 1 shot of booze at 6 a.m. and you look like you've had 25 beers, and it takes all day for your liver to make that go away.
Would you believe me if I told you I've experienced that?
Oh, I'm horrified. I'm horrified to hear it, but I believe it.
I'm done with it.
Well, I'm not shocked because there's a genetic,
part,
yeah. There's a genetic component to that as well.
I used to wake up in the morning and say jokingly to myself, "My liver is a quiver." Not like a quiver of arrows, but.
Lori Abs has an interesting, but I'm going to finish this real quick. That may be to the point now where there's water on the brain. I don't know. I'm not there. But if you can't have a rational conversation with somebody who's collapsing while sober, right? And you can't talk to them about things like, hey, you're driving, you're going to kill somebody, right? This isn't okay that you're behind the wheel. Then sadly, if there is no room for rational conversation, then I would call in professionals.
Yep. Whether that be doctors, police. I don't know. I hate to say that, but
Mock has a good comment.
You're not going to watch them continue to do this, right? You know what I mean? I guess it's up to you to decide.
Jen Marie says, my ex has wet brain. It's sad, but he was abusive. So I struggle with my empathy for him. So I mourn from a distance. God bless you. And you're doing what is exactly necessary and what is right for you. And I respect that. Beta, we put Grandpa's keys in the gun safe and would have called the police if he got to the keys when he wasn't cerebrally there anymore. And it's a sad thing, right? This is the worst possible conversation that anybody could be having. However, it's a conversation that you have to have. And that sucks. I'm sorry.
And driving's a privilege, people. I think we forget that. We kind of act and feel like we're entitled to drive. Like we created car. We now drive car. But there are a lot of people I don't think that should be driving. And it has nothing. There's no common. There's for a myriad of different factors. Whether it be, I think you're too old to be cognitive, and I'm a cold person sometimes. I think with my judgments, but I have seen some really wild stuff happen on the road in these cars, and I think that we take them for granted.
Yeah.
In many ways, not just this situation.
It's difficult. And Crystal says it's so hard to see someone with wet brain. It really is. And I don't know if that's the case, but Beta says he does not want help, right? That's reality. He doesn't want help. It's not possible. Taking his keys is a bad idea because it's going to be an invite for arguing and maybe worse, right? So what needs to happen is, and I don't know the situation, you need to look into is this every morning? Is this someone that has to drink every morning to make their hands stop twitching? Start looking into all of the symptoms and, how long has this person been drinking? How long has this exposure been? Because the truth of the matter is, if there is not water on the brain, well, then there is still hope for help. But if the person is falling down when not, if there's that much neurological damage at this point, you got to protect society more than you got to protect him. That's a shitty thing to say, isn't it? But it's the truth.
Flip Fox, no, it does not. Does reverse tolerance work in the same way for all drugs?
Absolutely not.
But
alcohol is a poison, so it goes through your liver. Other drugs are going to receptors. It's kind of a different thing. Go ahead, Spanky.
But there is something that happens very often where someone will have a stint of being sober, and then they'll go back out, they'll relapse, and they'll die. They'll overdose because they think that they can do the same amount that they used to do. So I wouldn't say that reverse tolerance works the same for all drugs, but there is something that happens when people get clean and then go back out. Your tolerance will be reset, most likely.
For a brief period of time.
Which is different.
Yeah.
But it's something that I need to mention because I've lost friends that way.
Absolutely. And especially opiate addicts. Scroll down a little bit.
Especially opiate addicts.
Wine a little bit. But what's bizarre is this. If you were doing 5 grams a day when you quit, and you quit for 5 years, when you come back, a half of a tenth is going to get you wasted.
Yeah.
But if you continue to use, in 3 weeks, you won't be at 5 grams. You'll be at 8 grams or 9 grams because your addictions continue to grow even when you don't use. There are books written about it. It's fascinating as hell. Inside right now, my heroin addiction is pumping iron. If I were to ever come back, I would not be a $700 a day guy. It would be beyond belief.
Wine a little bit more. Question for Tommy. My sister drinks vodka probably a fifth a day and then uses benzos to detox to prevent seizures, rinse and repeat. How long could she keep this up, drinking since 13 years old? I'm going to answer anyways. Not very long.
Sadly, it depends on how long the benders are, right? Before she uses the benzos to detox. So if a person is drinking for 8 months, right? I mean, just a fifth a day, 8 months, and then they get on benzos and they take off 8-9 months, your liver will make comebacks you will not believe. But the question becomes, how long is the refractory period between when they quit and when they start again? I mean, people have come back from the most god awful addictions, and their livers will make a comeback. Lungs, the same thing. People who smoke crack or people who smoke meth and just destroy their lungs. The second you stop, your lungs are starting to regenerate. We're an amazing body. The trouble becomes, if this is something where she's drinking for 4 years and then she's doing the benzo thing for, to come down for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, she cannot keep this up and she's going to end up with a wet brain, because when you're drinking a fifth a day, that is a horrific amount of alcohol.
Let's get some ones up for everyone that needs them today.
Please.
Having a lot of.
And I don't know how old your sister is, but if she's been drinking since 13, I mean, even if she's 30, that's a hellacious amount of time to be drinking. If she's older than that, but a little bit of more information. If you want to shoot me an email at tommyscoville@gmail.com and tell me a little bit more about the story, I could probably answer that a little bit better.
My heart goes out to you and your family.
Absolutely.
Whine a little bit more.
Absolutely. Now, you know, as bad as this sounds, that is a better proposal. The pattern is closer to monthly or less. Oh yeah, so she's not really quitting. All she's doing is using the benzos to keep from doing this while she's not drinking.
I would honestly, if that pattern were to change, increase, something like that, I would be very concerned. But at that, if I mean, it's under control until it's not. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's what I would look at.
Jeremy Shelton's got a funny comment. Whine a little bit more. Here's the deal. That honestly does not sound like somebody that's even. It may appear that that's what she's doing. She's drinking a fifth a day until that gets overwhelming. And then she uses benzos so that she doesn't go into the delirium tremens. That's what she's doing. But it's not really quitting. Yeah, she's got to stop drinking. And there's not much I wouldn't do to help. If she's willing to talk to people, I could get on the phone with her. If I can come back from where I have been, I promise you she can come back.
Much love. Yeah, let us know. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that is really what we do.
Hate to discredit the Feld dog, but my liver is the true comeback king. That is the funniest thing I've heard all day.
You know what? That would make a hell of a t-shirt.
I feel like my liver is a real good comeback king as well. It would make a good t-shirt now, wouldn't it?
The real comeback king is my liver.
No disrespect to Feld dog.
Okay, can't think of a better name. Jeez. Can't read.
What's the link to get the new journal you guys released? Let's see if I've got that pulled up. I wonder if it's still in my copy paste. Let's see. It's on my clipboard. Ha! It is. Right there. The journal, it's a digital PDF journal companion. Would you like to tell me?
Sure, absolutely. Here was the concept. The concept is this. I have said, I will continue to say, if you want to be successful in your life, right, you're going to put pen to paper and you're going to do it every single day. Every single person who is successful in really hitting it out of the park, the top 3 to 4% in terms of, I don't mean money, I mean in success in whatever they do. The top echelons, whether you be sports, whether you be politics, whether you be music, everybody journals. It's not a coincidence. But the beef we hear more than anyone, right? I mean, more than any other is, I don't know how to get started. I look at the page, nothing will come out. I can't do this. This is a adjunct. You take your journal out, you open it up and you take out our journal and it prompts you for the day. And they're not random. These are set up by us, by me and Calhoun. And we did it in such a way so that as you're coming up on holidays, as you're coming up on certain things, our mind changes during certain times of the year. Back to school is a different mindset than it is Christmas, than is holidays. But what we do is we bring out questions. Some will seem super innocuous, right? They don't seem like they're pushing any buttons. Maybe we're just getting you to write.
And then you'll get the curveball questions that's really going to peel your onion. So yeah, I look forward to seeing how you guys like it. I look forward to seeing to hearing your feedback and your success story. And
this is what I would love to see. I would love to see 2 or 3 years down the road, 6 months down the road, you get to a point where you go, you know what, I don't need that at all. Truthfully. But for people who say, I just can't write, you need a year of getting a habit of writing every single day. And that is what this will make you do. And it will do it in such a way. Sometimes when we journal and we ask you a question about, I use this one as an example because it's such a great one. But if I say, tell me the names of all your teachers that you can remember from elementary school. Seems like just an innocuous question. But as you start to write these things out, you're taking 2 parts of the brain, right? You're taking 2 parts of the brain and making them work together. And you go, oh, yeah, Mrs. Gordon, she used to hit people in the knuckle with rulers. She's the meanest woman in the entire world. Grab kids by the ears, pull them around the classroom. This crap used to happen, right? And it got me thinking about kids in the class. And the next thing you know, I'm not journaling about anything that I started at, but I'm talking about kids that I watched destroy their lives, who were so cute in 3rd grade. You know what I mean? And I watched these guys go around the drain with me. It's a fascinating thing, journaling.
Tommy, what's your view on pain meds? I have fibromyalgia, chronic pain, and I worry about taking codeine-based pain relief.
I should say, because I know that Calhoun is on board with this. This is really kind of the backbone of what we talk about here. I'm not anti-drug. I know that probably bums people out, but I'm not anti-drug. I can't do them. right? But codeine is an amazing pain reliever. It's an amazing pain reliever. If you're in pain, right, you have a right to relieve it. Go ahead.
And we're an anti-addiction channel, right?
Correct.
We're what we're really dealing with is addiction, right? So I mean, yeah, treating actual pain with actual pain medication is normal as far as we see it.
If you're following the instructions of a doctor, right? You get a pill bottle and it says take 2 of these 3 times a day as needed for pain. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
I promise you're doing fine. If it says take 3 2 times a day and you're taking 12, right? We have a problem. We have a problem. And as addicts, we'll go, oh, no, the problem was 3 isn't getting the job done. Well, then if that's the problem, you talk to your doctor and you tell them. But doctors have a pretty good idea of what will actually treat that amount of pain. And if you're going over that, it's because you're treating spiritual or emotional pain, right? Because what's on the pill bottle is going to treat physical pain. Anything you start taking over that gets rid of spiritual and emotional pain and all of the baggage that comes with it. Bad juju, I promise. But I think if you're in pain, you should treat pain. You should not feel guilty for taking medication that takes away pain or anything else for that matter.
There's Mr. Ben.
There's Bacon, Ben. I love Ben Turner.
Mr. Bacon Boy.
I was talking about you earlier.
He's the bacon boss.
Actually, I held off talking about you, and because I was waiting for you to come back.
Now that you're here,
because I've been drafting a very long letter to Ben,
Mr. Bacon Boss.
Yeah, but this is something that I could probably say to everybody. What I want more than anything on planet Earth is for people to start channels and do what we do. Unlike probably every other business on earth, where if somebody were to start something like what we do, they would be in competition with us and we would want to stomp them out so that we could rise to the top. That's not really what we got going on here.
Negative.
we got a message and a concept that we would like to take to the entire world.
Yeah.
Right.
And if y'all want to help us do that, we are all for it. And speaking of, it seems to already be working.
Absolutely. It really is.
Shout out to Ben and all the other ripples out
there.
And
you know something? Ben is better at this than I am. I'm not kidding.
He's pretty tech savvy.
He is good at this. And the man has a knowledge base that is impressive as hell. It really is. And his ability to communicate it is fantastic. The most difficult thing, sadly for everybody, is getting so that you feel like we're hanging out talking like this and you don't realize that there's just a bunch of other people. It's like you're all just in the room and we're talking. And that's a tough thing for people to get accustomed to. It's funny because we were just talking about this a little bit earlier, but this is one of those things that I never had to work through. I don't know why that is. I think it probably has something to do with my particular brain and how it worked, right? But I absolutely just, the first time I sat on a stage, the first time I went in front of a camera, it just felt the way that it was supposed to. And I think that the biggest gift, if I can tell any advice to anybody, get something that looks like a stick figure, whatever, and put it right where the camera is. I'm terrible about it here. I'm great at my house, but I'm tempted to. I end up doing this because I like looking at Spanky.
Yeah.
Right. But ideally, if you make eye contact with the people you're talking to, right, and you are actually genuine and sincere in what you're talking about, it's going to come through.
Yeah.
And if you're starting the channel for the right reasons, it will be successful the day you start it. I promise. It will be successful the day you start it. If you're starting it for all the wrong reasons, you can get 600,000 people and $200,000 a month, and it is never going to be successful. It sounds hokey as hell, but I promise you it's the truth. And what's crazy is everybody that I've seen who has really become successful in YouTube didn't start out giving a rat's you-know-what, whether or not they were successful. This format we're doing right here, this live format, when I started YouTube, people said to me, yeah, you're not gonna make any money doing it. You can't make a successful channel doing live. And they gave you 500 reasons why. And they said, how long are you planning on going live? I said, I don't know, hour at a minimum. And they looked at me like I had horns growing out of my head.
Yeah. Now
Now everybody does this, right? But that years ago, nobody did this. Do what you want to do and what feels good, and it will work. If it's supposed to, you'll be happy with exactly what the audience is, because you're probably not trying to build an audience of 500,000. You're trying to get something out that you need to get out. That's my thought.
Nobody said pipe it up before we made this song. I don't know. That's probably
I know.
after your
No,
time.
no, it's not actually.
You heard that song, Pipe It Up.
Yeah, no, actually. Well, it is after my time. It's way after my time, but I do get the reference. You know what, Ben? I'm not sure I'm that kind. I'll be really honest with you because I
kind of a jerk.
Yeah, if it was the other direction, Spanky will tell you. If it was the other direction, I probably would tell you. There are people I think that as much as they love it, maybe shouldn't do it. But you're not one of them. I stop every time I see you somewhere. Like when you pop up in my feed, and when I watch YouTube, I don't watch YouTube anymore for any reason other than research, and it's just because of what I'm doing. Mock.
The key is to not BS people, Mock. The key is to be genuine, authentic, and truthful.
Well, they do know. They absolutely know if you're BSing them, and it's really funny, and it's not. But years ago, my brother Johnny and I worked on a sales floor, and
I'll speak up, Susie.
Yeah. We worked on a sales floor that was just cutthroat. It was one of those things where we were selling $10,000 and $20,000 packages over a telephone. And the boss, the first day that we went in for training, this guy said, the key to this business is sincerity. Once you can bullshit that, you'll be fine. And there was no irony. He wasn't expecting a laugh, and no one in the room laughed. And I remember thinking to myself, that's the sickest thing anyone's ever said, right? But it's a fairly sad thing, but and it's a cliche, but no one really cares at all whether how does it go?
I don't know.
You don't get fooled again. I feel like George
Fool
W.
me
Bush. Fool me once, shame on. No,
Fool
no
me
one.
Twice, don't get fooled again.
We don't get fooled again. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. I think that's what I was going for.
There you go.
It's a whole lot better. It's a cliche, but it's a solid cliche. There's a reason that we continue to say it, right? And the reason is you can't do this stuff the way we do it if you don't care about people, because it will come across really, really quickly. And you all know creators that don't interact with their audience, and that's okay if it's 90% cool.
90% of creators, eh?
Yeah, it's okay if it's cool. That's I answer comments. I figure if somebody takes the time to write them, I'm going to take the time to respond to them. It sure as hell helps the channel. It may seem like that's just something that creators say. It's not. When I'm here and I'm answering all of the comments, we get treated a lot better by YouTube. You know what, Susie Q? It's fun being here with my son. I got a lot of messages yesterday about how much fun it was that the two of us are here. And I'm looking forward to doing this for the time that I'm here. The morning shows are an awful lot of fun. Hey, there she is. You like this? It's a good one, isn't it?
They're thinking about making it in cotton.
They're thinking about making it in cotton. You know what? Do you know the only reason when we were moving, Reese came across a refrigerator. It's about this big. And it's Jerry Seinfeld's refrigerator, and it's got all the magnets and everything on it. It's got the cereal boxes. And when you open up the inside, it is the entire box set, and it's got all of the outtakes and all of that. And I said, oh, this is mine. And she said, no, somebody gave that to me. I said, look, you don't understand. This is a Jeremy Shelton thing. I actually brought up I'm not kidding. I brought up his name. Quibs could back this up. We love you too, Quibs. I really do. I started talking about you this morning. You probably missed it, but you know what? Kristen Melinda is heading to yoga class. Good on you. Keep fighting the good fight.
I think on that note, I may head into the breakfast zone. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a difference. I'll speak up a little tomorrow. Huh?
Well, you know what we're going to do is...
And I'm not going to let Dad run away with the show tomorrow, but I'm glad he did today.
You know why I ran away with the show today, to be real?
Huh.
As soon as I knew that this was here and it was the only one we got, as sad as it is, like I said, if you meet me in person, I talk like I'm trying to talk to 6 rows back, because it's what I did for most of my adult life. I project and I use my diaphragm every time I talk. And if there's one microphone, Spanky is not going to be heard as well, and it's going to be a recurring theme. Tomorrow we're going to be mic'd up here and there and here, and
we don't need that.
Well, I think we're going to have this brushed out. We also have a monitor back here, and I'm leaving the equipment, so we should have this ironed out. I only watch creators that interact, even if the chats are busy, so individual chances of responses are slim. Just seeing the interaction is what makes YouTube key. Nicola, I think you're right. This is a really weird phenomenon, right? When we were youngsters, even you, right? You're the last of the generation, but when we were youngsters, our heroes were on TV, right? And you couldn't interact with them. I mean, we sat down and you and I would watch show after show. When you were a kid, we had all of our favorites, and most of them were cartoons, but we would sit down and watch those. Nowadays, people watch stuff. 90% of people aren't watching television anymore. It's a dying art form, right? Nowadays, hey, Mama Bear, nowadays people watch a completely different kind of entertainment, and holy hell, you can interact with the people you're watching, right? They're not rock stars. They're not actors and actresses. Now they're people, and they're people you can reach out to. You're jealous of Reese? Yeah, you should ask Reese. Reese should tell you. You probably wouldn't be as jealous as. Do you know I left one M&M? Did you hear this?
I mean, you leave candy here sometimes too.
No, I left a whole bag of candy here for you.
Yeah.
No, what she means is, out of the entire bag, I only left. So it wasn't even an M&M. It was just
so
an
nice
M.
of you.
I don't think I did it. To be really honest with you. No, I think I'm being gaslighted. I'm sorry, gaslighted. Gaslighting has to do with farts. But
all right, y'all.
CAG, YouTube is the second largest search engine. It is owned by the largest. I think if you research that, I think that they now classify this as the larger version of that. Honestly, I believe I did a show on this a while back, but I believe now if you Google what is the world's largest search engine, at least when I did the show on it, it actually said YouTube. That's why so many of us like Roll Call. We remember Romper Room. That is just downright funny. He eats all the candy and leaves one piece. There's no truth to that. All right, people. I can see where this is going, right? This is going nowhere good. Now everybody's going to start picking on me. And I'm not having it.
Don't let them pick on you.
And I'm not having it.
I'll hang up on them.
All right, everybody. There will be more content later. Rumor has it that Yadira, don't encourage her. You see what's happening now?
Oh, did I come back not to turn it off?
Yadira now is encouraging the Sour Patch Kids that I also may have supposedly eaten. Are you
a Sour Patch Kid eater?
I am a Sour Patch Kid eater. There were a lot of Sour Patch Kids left. There really were. There were not a lot of, however, M&Ms. Truthfully,
this is going to be awesome.
It is. Oh,
that's pretty sweet, right? All right, y'all. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, huh?
All right, everybody.
Later today.
I'm the Admiral. We will see you later.
When are you going to be live tonight?
I don't know. You know what I got to do? I got to call Quibble because I really would like to talk and see if we're going to be doing one of those Colson Crims things.
One of those creme de la creme deals.
Linsanity, good to see you. Don't run away, Crim. I'm not running away, Crim. I'm just running away.
Have a great day, Jimena. Have a great day, everybody.